Hey, I'm CDiinky. And in this video, I'll be going over and showing you guys some of my best tips and tricks for the early game players who are just starting out in Grounded. And if you guys are enjoying the content you see at any point in this video, please make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. I would really appreciate that, and it helps me make more Ground content for you guys. Alright, enough of me yapping and onto the video. So my very first tip is it's pretty easy. Just go around and collect as many natural resources as you can. Make sure to collect food as well, because food is a very big issue when it comes into the early game, and you're going to want to discover these field stations here, and inside these field stations you're going to find a resource analyzer where you're able to analyze the new resources that you've just found to unlock some new crafting recipes so you can make yourself some weapons, some tools, some building pieces and whatnot. The resource analyzer also has 3 max charges, so you're not able to analyze all of your resources all at once. You will recharge 1 analyze per in-game hour, and as you keep analyzing resources you're going to get a small amount of raw science and some brain power. The brain power levels pretty much just give you crafting recipes that if you have already discovered or you haven't discovered. So let's say for example at brain power level 1, if you haven't researched any of the clovers yet, the clover armor, you're going to automatically unlock that at brain power level 1. And if waiting around to research more items isn't your thing, you can also find more field stations when exploring the yard, so research away. But here is a little tip: if you have a grass plank or a weed stem on your character and you go to a research station, you're actually able to analyze the weed stem or the grass plank, which gives you recipes to craft up a base, which you're obviously going to need to store your items, to rest at night and just to chill out. One major tip that I would definitely recommend for the early game, and you can even use this in the mid game and late game, is to understand the creature's weaknesses and resistances and sometimes their weak points, as this will either give you a damage increase or a damage reduce when fighting different creatures. So for this red soldier ant, she is weak to stabbing damage, so if I go ahead and use this spear which does stabbing damage, I'm going to be dealing more damage than if I say for example use chopping, which is what she is resistant to. And now when it comes to creatures' weak points, not a lot of creatures in the game have weak points, but some of them do. Weak points basically mean they're critical hit spots, so if you hit this spot you're going to deal massive damage. So this ladybug has the weak point of me slashing or chopping at its legs, and if you see here the critical effect going off, this is meaning I'm hitting a weak spot and I'm dealing massive damage. I also wouldn't recommend always trying to hit that weak spot, only when you have an opportunity, like say for example if the enemy is stunned, then go ahead and go for their weak points. While fighting enemies in Grounded, there's also a thing called the perfect parry system, which is where you hit the block button right before an enemy attacks, which stops all incoming damage. Learning to perfect parry is essential when it comes to Grounded, as there is no way in the later game you're just going to be able to soak up a bunch of damage. You're going to have to at least learn to perfect parry a few attacks just to stop all that damage, and this is the most broken thing in the game. You can literally kill any creature if you know how to perfect parry right. Even with the pebblet axe, you're able to kill any creature in the entire game. Granted, if you just want to sit there and keep whacking at that one creature and perfect parry for over 30 minutes. So if you guys had one tip you could take away from this video, it is to learn how to perfect parry. Trust me, I'm going to save you in the later game. And while you guys are learning to perfect parry, I would definitely recommend crafting up a weevil shield when practicing, as this will increase your block gauge so you won't get stunned very easily, and it can almost stop all incoming damage. But do not rely on shields too much, because if you have a shield equipped, you're going to have the defensive stance effect, which is going to reduce all damage you deal by 20%, which is massive, especially in the early game. So we have gotten some knowledge when versing creatures, their resistances and weaknesses. Now what is the best armor for early game for you guys? I would definitely recommend either the acorn armor or the clover armor, but I would definitely lean into more of the clover armor, because the clover armor is extremely easy to craft up. You can get this within the first 5 minutes of the game, and each piece of the clover armor has what is called tenderfoot defense, which gives you a 5% damage reduction when incoming from tier 1 creatures. If you have the full set equipped, you're getting a 15% damage reduction against tier 1 creatures, as well as the set bonus, which gives you trickle regen, which slowly regenerates your health over time, which is very useful because Grounded does not have a passive health regen on your character. To find out if a creature is tier 1, you can check in the data tab and go to creature cards, or you can peep the creature in the game, and right next to their name you will see a 1 or any other tier. Yes, there are multiple tiers in the game, so if there is a 1 next to the name, that means it's tier 1 and you'll get the defense bonus. After you're happy with what weapons and armor you are rocking and you want to become stronger with those items, around the yard you're going to find marble and quartzite items. Marble is used for upgrading your armor and quartzite is used for upgrading your weapons. Please keep in mind, once you destroy these rocks, these are not going to respawn, and you're going to have to find different ways to make these marble and quartzite shards later in the game, but I won't spoil nothing. And now one major thing that I see a lot of people do when they first start out playing Grounded is they upgrade their tier 1 gear. Please do not do this. Hold on to your resources and wait till the next tier. Trust me, you're wasting your resources if you do it on tier 1. There are also more ways to increase your character's damages and resistances and different perks. works when it comes to mutations. Mutations are given to the player after doing a certain amount of requirements to get the mutation. For example, on screen you see Chopper, which is given to the player after you kill 50 enemies with an axe. The Chopper mutation is only useful when using an axe, so let's say for example you have Chopper equipped and you go ahead and use a hammer, you're getting no Chopper effect on that hammer, you have to use an axe for it, and the Chopper mutation lowers enemies' defenses by 10% at stage 1, and you can increase the power of your mutations by doing more feats, and at stage 3, maxing out your mutation, you will get a mastery bonus which gives you even more effects. While exploring in the backyard, you might find these things called trinkets. These are easy to identify when they have a shimmer on their icon, which gives your characters special effects. So for example, this astonishing acid trinket increases the damage I deal on my 3rd hit after finishing a 3-hit combo. Some trinkets can be crafted, found around the yard, or have a very low RNG drop chance, and there is a bunch of trinkets in the game, so hopefully one of these trinkets will suit your playstyle. Now, one of the very first things that I would recommend all players do is to go inside of the red anthill just here on the map. It's not very far from that spawn location. Inside of the anthill, you're going to find ant eggs, worker ants, and soldier ants. Soldier ants are aggressive, while the worker ants are passive unless you provoke a soldier ant or you hit a red ant. Do not pick up the ant eggs unless you want the entire colony to be chasing after you. And while you're in this anthill, you're looking for one thing and one thing only, the red anthill burgle chip. Not very far into the story, you're going to meet a person called Burgle, and you're going to need to give this burgle chip to him. When you give the chip to Burgle, he is going to give you a certain amount of raw science, and you're now able to spend those raw science to get some new crafting recipes. Not too far in the story, you're also going to find the ASL terminal where you go ahead and spend that raw science. And on this burgle chip is the fiber bandage efficiency upgrade, which is extremely useful. If you do not have this upgrade, bandages are going to cost 3 plant fiber and 2 sap per craft. And with the upgrade, it is now going to cost 1 plant fiber and 1 sap per craft, as fiber bandages are the only way for you guys to have a good trickle regen, and having this upgrade being really cheap is extremely useful in the early game, mid game, and even the late game. And my final tip for all of you guys starting out in Grounded is to be brave. You're not going to go anywhere in Grounded if you do not take risks, as a lot of the game's progression, especially in the mid to late game, requires you to go out of your comfort zone and fight harder and tougher creatures. So go ahead, you see that wolf spider or see that Allbeaver Jr. or even that ladybug, go ahead and attempt to take it on, and if you die, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you gave it a go and you know what it's going to be like, so you can prepare for the next time. And if you don't fight these creatures at all and you're going to sit there and you're going to be scared, then you're not going to go anywhere in this game, I'm sorry. So that there is going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, but I have something to ask you guys. If you guys have some sort of Grounded knowledge, please comment at least one tip down below for all of the new Grounded players, which will help them out a lot. And if you're watching this Grounded video because you would like some early game tips and tricks because you are a new player yourself, I would like to personally say, welcome to Grounded. I hope you have an amazing time. And if you guys have made it this far into the video, please make sure to leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.